Hey, this is Dr. Mott.
Okay.
I read the release, but it didn't allow me to do like an e-signature on it. So I guess I can print it out, sign it, and email it back to you in like a scanned form. However, I'm not in a position where I can scan that document and do it until probably Monday morning. Because it said it didn't have like a place for me to like do an e-signature or fill it out that way.
Oh man. That should be fine actually. So Monday morning, yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. So did you want to do it Monday morning, or do you want to just go ahead and do it now, given that I give a verbal signature and then you complete the rest? And I forward the thing to you on Monday morning.
That should work out fine.
Okay. Because as long as it's recorded, I mean, I'm giving verbal consent of it, that I've read the agreement and everything. It's just I need to sign it, scan it, and email it back to you.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. That should be fine. Hello?
Are you there?
Dr.
Hello?
Mott?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, it went really quiet for a second.
Yeah, sorry, let me move around in the office. I'm in the office in Fort Myers, and sometimes it's not the best of reception here.
Okay. That's fine, actually. It's, I'm in Winter Garden. I live like 5 minutes away from your Winter Garden office, so.
Mm-hmm.
The reception here still isn't, it's not that good, but.
All right. Is it working better now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so are you ready to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's brief. It's only 5 questions.
Okay.
So I'll start. It's, what do you enjoy the most about your job, about your career?
Well, for one, I think it's a pretty rewarding field. So many other fields are, you go to work and you make money for somebody else. And you sit in a cubicle every day and you don't really see much of a product. What I do is, sometimes you don't always see the direct results. Sometimes you do, but either way, you do kind of walk away at the end of the day feeling like you've made some sort of bigger difference in the world, that you've made kind of a lasting effect that's sometimes passed down from, not just the patient you're working with, but maybe to their children or maybe to friends or other families. So it has some ripple effects in what you do, and it really does feel good knowing that you're not just kind of making money for somebody else, but that you're doing something, for a better cause related to, the bigger picture in the world and being able to improve some people's lives.
Okay. All right, thank you. Second question, is there anything you don't like?
Yeah, I think there's, it's much more limited in terms of what I don't like. It can be a difficult business in of itself, because at the end of the day, you still have to make money. Working with the insurance companies is a real difficult aspect of the field that really you don't get paid what you're worth. So in terms of the finances, I think that's the most frustrating thing, dealing with that business side of the practice. A lot of times people feel like, the doctors are kind of the greedy ones because medical prices are so high, but what they don't understand is that it's mainly the insurance company that sets how much the prices are, or at least what the doctors get paid. So I think there's a misperception, and sometimes I think if the insurance companies just stay out of the way and allow the doctor and the patient to negotiate the price, that healthcare would flow much more smoothly. There's a lot of paperwork involved and legal stuff involved in the insurance companies, so I don't, that can be a difficult thing. The other part I would say that I don't, that can be difficult is you have to learn how to not take work home with you. That a lot of times you do hear difficult stories, or sad stories, or just really, horrific things that have happened to people. And, you have to learn how to turn that off during, when you go home at night and not bring that home with you. And sometimes that can be a difficult aspect, but at the same time, that can also be the rewarding thing too, because you know that you're helping those people.
Okay. All right, third question. Could you describe your academic path, how it was to go through all that schooling to get here?
Describe my academic what?
Your academic path.
Oh, path. Gosh, it was more like a boot camp, really. Once you get through kind of the original, my original degree, I had an AA degree in business, and what business degree is one of those things where you can be good at business without having to have a degree, so you're either good at it or not good at it. You don't really have to go through the whole degree process to own a business or anything. And the only other thing I really loved was psychology. So I made my mind up in my between my AA and BA to change my major to psychology and to go all the way and become a psychologist. Once you get into graduate school, that's when the training to become a psychologist really kicks in, and it's really pretty difficult. There's no real way you can work a part-time job. You're pretty much your full-time job is school. And after your third year, you start working what's called a practicum, and practicum is basically you're working basically a part-time job for free in the field of psychology and collecting course credit for it in hours toward your degree. It was a good path, but it's best way to describe it is like a boot camp. It's stressful. You leave graduate school with a little bit of PTSD that doesn't seem to leave you. So it's a pretty, once you get into dance school, it's not for everyone. It is a difficult thing, and stress management is a big part of it. Time management is a big part of it. And I think those who are most successful in graduate school are those who have a little bit of OCD to them.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. So the fourth question, was it, I guess you kind of sort of answered this, but was it hard to make it to this point in your career? What obstacles did you face?
It's easy to say it wasn't hard because I'm not in it now. Looking back, having accomplished something, it's like, after you climb the top of the mountain, you look down and you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. But as you're climbing it, it's pretty tough. There's a lot of obstacles. For one, you still have life. There's a lot of life things that still transpire. You still have family, you still have a social life, if that exists while you're in graduate school. Me in particular, my father passed away during my internship year. And that was pretty difficult because that's the internship year is your final year. So, I found most of the obstacles revolved a lot around kind of the personal aspect and being able to either manage the personal aspect or just kind of deny the personal aspect because you have to focus on school so intensely. There's a number of different projects through graduate school that were very stressful. Um, so I think the obstacles are, kind of balancing a personal life, especially if I didn't happen to be married or anything like that, so it was a little easier in terms of that. But some people in graduate school have families or children, or they have to have some form of a job in order to support something. So those tend to be major obstacles for some people.
Okay. Um, I'm very sorry to hear about that, but thank you. And the last
Yeah.
question: Do you have
hmm
do you have any advice for a budding psychologist?
I would say definitely be a psychologist. A lot of people in the who are interested into getting mental health career, they look at things like a licensed clinical social worker or a licensed mental health specialist or something to that degree that only requires either maybe a BA with a certification or specialized training or a master's degree. Um, I don't recommend doing any of those. I find people who do those are ones who either didn't want to put forth the effort to do the graduate school thing. Um, they're not I don't want to say they're not adequately trained. They have a different level of training that is not up to the standards that a psychologist does. Um, you're also limited, very limited, in terms of the money you'll ever make as a mental health worker. Um, so I find that the pay is very low. You're also very low in terms of importance. A lot of the people who just have the master's degree who do mental health work, they work in community mental health centers where they deal with a big caseload, a lot of government paperwork, and their turnover is on average maybe about 9 months sometimes, where they just it's a rotating door because they're overworked and burned out. I always recommend people go for a degree in psychology, a doctoral degree in psychology, the PhD or the PsyD, because it allows you to make more money. For number two, you have the flexibility to do a lot more within the field and specialize a lot more in the field. And you can do more in terms of psychological testing, research, and teaching. So I encourage people who are going to get into the mental health field not to short themselves because they don't want to go to graduate school for 6 to 9 years or something like that, but to go ahead and go for the highest degree they can get in the field of psychology, because typically I find most people, a lot of times people who have the master's degree, they go back to get the PhD or the PsyD degree, or they wish that they had kind of done something a little differently.
Okay. Wow. Well, you definitely opened my eyes to the whole thing, so thank you for that, and thank you for doing this interview with me. So yeah,
Absolutely.
that's all of it. So.
Yeah, I think I was in your position once before too, and you don't know. A lot of people getting into this field, they don't know what they're getting into. That there's a lot of changing going on in the field, and good and bad. One of which is that psychologists in Florida will probably soon be getting prescription privileges to prescribe medications. But that again will change the field, and there's a lot of things. I don't know if I wish I knew before. Sometimes, I'm glad that I didn't know then what I know now, because I don't know if I would have chosen the same path knowing kind of the work that it took and everything that I had to go through. But now that I'm here, I'm glad that I'm here.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, all right. You have a wonderful night, and thank you again.
Absolutely, and I'll email you that thing Monday morning.
Yes.
And if you have any other questions or anything, don't hesitate to call or Feel free to. Well, you should probably call before you stop by the office. Make sure I'm in there. But if you ever wanted to kind of meet and sit down and talk, let me know.
All right. Thank you again. I really can't thank you enough. So you have a wonderful night.
Absolutely.
All right.
No problem. You take care, okay?
You too. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.